Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do 6 little landscapes for you. They're going to be quite experimental. I think that is what everybody loves about my landscapes. Some will have some granulating medium. That's the granulating medium that I use. It's very handy to have a little pipette there to withdraw the granulating medium and deposit it where you want to put it. We will possibly use some salt, just some rock salt, and we'll just see where it takes us. But the brushes that I use, this is a 3/4 inch angle shader. Now you can definitely just use a flat brush. I mostly use it just to put water on the paper, maybe do a bit of blending. A squirrel mix, and it's a lovely natural fibre that I really like, and the brand is Neef, and it's a number 10. Here we have just a number 8 round. It's an acrylic brush, and it's not an expensive one, quite a cheap one. And it's really good for some more detailed work, as is this 00 Neef, and I use this for tiny little details. And this is my trusty script liner or rigger, and I'll be using that too. So with no further ado, divide a piece of paper up into some sections. I'm working on squares today. This is 300 GSM Canson cold pressed watercolour paper. I'm going to start by spraying my paper, just a light spray all over. So you can see I'm doing all of the backgrounds at the same time. First of all, I'm going to take some cobalt turquoise and just start to put in some of that colour just randomly over the work. So there's a little bit on each of the squares, a little bit of phthalo turquoise, making sure I go right to the edges of the paper. Quinacridone Gold Deep is the next colour. Mixed together gives me lovely greens, which would be nice in a landscape. Got my board on a very, very slight tilt. I'm not really thinking of painting landscape at the moment. I'm just playing around with the colours. This is Pyrrole Red, and just on the dirty brush you'll notice that I mixed it in with the cobalt turquoise then. I'm just making sure a little bit of that colour goes here, there and everywhere. I'm trying to create, I guess, a series, so it'd be nice to have some of those colours everywhere. A little bit more of that pyrrole red. Just trying to just add a little bit more colour here and there. And lastly, I'm going to take a little bit of indigo. Just add a little bit of drama. Just going to give that a little spray. And we'll just do a bit of tilting. Just using the round brush now and picking up a bit of that, more of that Quinacridone Gold. And just letting that run through some of these colours. Give me some lovely greens, which I'm looking for. There go my poodles. I'm sure you heard that noise. Someone's passing by. Pyrrole red. Two poodles, large standards. Rosie is 1 year old on the 16th. And Shadow follows her 2 weeks later. A little bit more of the phthalo turquoise. Just trying to balance out colours at the moment. This is what we've got so far. And I think that's looking quite nice. I'd like a bit more colour down in this bottom corner. So let's go with a little bit more of that phthalo turquoise. Let that run. Love that colour. A bit of the pyrrole red in with it. Okay, a little bit of splattering. Still got the Pyrrole red on my brush. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit of Granulating Medium. So that's the one I'm using. It's a Winsor & Newton and it's called Granulating Medium. And it helps increase the granulation of colour. So I'm just going to drop a little bit in. I've just picked it up in the pipette here. And just added it in those little areas of colour. And again, I'm using my board. Don't forget to tape down your paper for this project because it is getting very wet. And I'm tilting and letting the watercolours just run. Giving you just a close-up view there of what I've got so far. I'm tilting back the other way. Gorgeous, gorgeous colours. Loving them. Okay. I'm going to lay that flat. I'm picking up a little bit of rock salt. So it's the larger salt there. And I'm just going to just put a little bit just here and there. Okay, I'm going to go and have my lunch now and allow this to dry. Then I'll come back and make them all into fabulous landscapes for you. I'll give you one more close-up look. Okay, bye for now. Lunchtime. So you can see that the painting is now dry. Just showing you some of the close-ups before I take the salt off. So I've got some beautiful, beautiful colours happening. So I'm going to take the salt off now. It's just a matter of taking it outside or going over the garbage bin and just giving it a gentle rub and the salt will just fall off. Salt's off now. And I've got some lovely texture and granulation from both the granulating medium. See the lovely granulations there and the effects from the salt. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut them up into smaller works. I can still see my lines. See them just in there, fine pencil lines where I've divided them up because I do have little frames or mat boards that I can use these paintings in that'll fit nicely. So that was my reasoning for the sizing, and you could do that too. You could make a large piece but divide it up into pieces that will fit frames that you have. So I'll cut these up and come back to you soon. Welcome back. I've cut up my little paintings and this is what I've been left with. Now remember that You can use any orientation. You can turn it around and work out what makes a better composition for you. So they are squares, so they can go any way that we like, and you could do that with a rectangle too. They could go portrait or landscape. This is a lovely one. It's almost a really lovely mountain view, I guess, on its own. Let's see what it looks like the other way. It could almost be a lakeside with trees at the other side. There's some lovely texture in this one. I really love the granulation down here and the little marks. Could they be little rocks? Could I do some negative painting around them? Here's a beautiful one with some lovely lights in it. Could this be a tree on this side? It's already there. And what could I do here? You know, could I do some more trees in the distance? We'll have to have a little play with that and see what we come up with. Looks lovely this way too. Again, some really interesting shapes. Almost looks like a bushfire up here on top of a mountain. Could I just have a little fence going through, little pathway? Could I put a house maybe just in here? And this is lovely too. So lots of ideas. This is definitely a lovely tree shape there. What about this way? Again, could this be some water down the bottom? I think the only thing to do is play, see what we can come up with. One, I can see some distant hills here. Remember I said that looks a little bit like a bushfire. I can also see a line going through here, which I like because it divides the painting into thirds. So I'm going to do a line of trees going through here with possibly a little gap in them somewhere, and then some stronger trees in the foreground. And I'll use indigo this time. And first of all, I'm going to start off with my script liner and some indigo. If you don't have indigo, you could use Payne's Grey. Could even use the Sodalite Genuine that we used earlier. So let's get some trees happening. So this, as I said, this is just indigo. Oops, wrong one. No, that was the Sodalite. So just a tip with the script liner, the harder you press, like this, I'll just do another couple of trees. So if you press down, really down, and fan out those bristles, you'll get a lovely thicker line. And as you lift, as you lift up onto the point of the brush, you're going to get a finer line. So they're very versatile, and you can just use them for the thicker branches. You can also use them for the thinner ones too, depending on what pressure that you add. Let's get some more paint. This is a Daniel Smith Indigo that I'm using. And by having the paint just that little bit transparent, see how when it's drying it's a lot lighter, and I want that because I want it to give me a sense of distance, because these are I'm going to have some foreground trees that I want to be very much in the foreground, so they'll be a lot darker. I'll just speed this up a little bit for you. This is what I have so far. It's not dry, there's still a little bit of wet tree on there. But what I'm going to do now is just use some ink, and I've got some ink in a jar here that I'm just going to be dipping my script liner into. Oops. Definitely another branch going in there. I'll definitely speed this up for you again. And I forgot to press record on that last little bit, so all I did was a little bit of splattering, just do a bit more here, and then I used a tissue just to fade back some of them. Then I used my small brush, my detail brush again, and just dipped it in the ink, and I added just a few more little bigger bits of foliage just by doing a little bit of dabbing. And what else did I do? I added a little bird, so I just drew it in with a pencil and blocked it in. That's all I did, just blocked it in with some ink, and it's just a matter of, needs another coat anyway, of doing the shape. There's no detail on it, it's just a silhouette. And putting the other wing in, and there we have it. So that's painting number 2.